G'day, we had such great reaction to our bit of David Margaret conversation last week. We thought we might do this on a regular basis, but I'm going to reverse it this week. I'm going to talk to Wayne, because Wayne's got a particular interest, and we're going to talk about our upcoming production presented here of Ensemble Theatre's Frankenstein, based on the novel by Mary Shelley. So just to start off, Wayne, when did your interest in Frankenstein, not the play, but the actual story start?
The story probably when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I know
really, that far back?
Yeah, I know it's a young start for something that's deemed to be sort of maybe not something for kids, or maybe a bit horrific or a bit scary or a bit sinister. But we came home from a holiday very late one night, and of course we were usually in bed at 8:30. But
it was a dark and stormy night.
It was a dark and stormy night. We'd driven back very late, and for some reason my sister clicked on the TV, and it was after midnight, and the 1931 version of James Whale's Frankenstein with Boris Karloff as the creature was on. And it was that very famous shot of him backing out through a doorway and then turning around and facing the camera. And then James Whale very cleverly zooms in, not as one shot, but in 3 separate shots into the very famous, iconic Frankenstein makeup that everyone knows. And it struck me instantly, and I was enamoured. And the first thing I wanted to know is what it was, and my mum was able to tell me about it. And the next thing I wanted to know was how they did the makeup. Yeah. So from then on I started drawing pictures of Frankenstein and going to the library and borrowing books about Frankenstein and learning about the story. And I think for kids it's not just about it's scary therefore I don't want to see it. It's almost the opposite. There's a whole generation of kids, particularly in the United States, who are known as monster kids, who were enamoured with this, with the whole culture of those 1930s Universal black and white scary films. And there's actually something really comforting and warm about them if you grew up loving them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that was my introduction to Frankenstein and all things science fiction and all things horror and that kind of thing.
That kind of B-grade sci-fi.
Absolutely. And
we shouldn't say B-grade because that sounds like that's what they're referred to.
Yeah, they are because once the studios realised that there wasn't a lot of money to be spent on them, you could do them very cheaply. All you needed was a damsel in distress and a scary-looking monster that you could make money out of it.
Now, Ensemble Theatre's production doesn't have Boris Karloff, doesn't have bolts in necks. They haven't followed the film monster script. They've gone back to the Mary Shelley,
to the source,
the original source story.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Tell me what do you know about Mary Shelley's story and how that came to happen?
Well, her story was written almost as a dare. Herself, her husband, Percy Bysshe Shelley, Lord Byron, and another fellow whose name escapes me, were all holidaying in Europe on the banks of Lake Geneva at a hotel, and it had rained all summer, so they were stuck in this hotel, and their entertainment wasn't doing the traditional long walks along the wake. It was telling stories to each other. And so the deal was, let's see who can write the scariest story. So she went to bed on a particular night, had a dream, got up the next morning and started writing, and that became a Frankenstein. And it's written it's not a novel in the traditional sense. It's written as a series of letters and diaries, a little bit like Dracula was written. So she won the competition, and she published the book in a serial form under an anonymous name. So back then women didn't write novels, so she kind of broke down a few barriers there as well. And where the book differs to the traditional sense that we have through the movies is that the creature, and not the monster, the creature has a voice. He's very intelligent, he's well read, he learns to read, he learns to talk, and he learns to question why am I here, which we all do, but the difference is he gets to confront his creator and ask that question.
And the creator, of course, is Frankenstein.
That's right.
Everybody thinks Frankenstein's the monster, but he's Frankenstein's monster.
That's right.
So this stage production really focuses on the voice and the thoughts of the creature.
Yes, he's confused, he's looking for answers, but most of all, because of his predicament, he's very, very angry. And that's not something that, if we all got a chance to talk to a creator and ask them why we're here, would we say, why did you make me, or thank you? But he's not, he's angry because he knows that he's shunned by people that he runs into, and He knows that he's ugly. He knows what he is. He knows he's a construction of awful origins. So his confrontation is an angry one with his creator. And of course, he's hell-bent on revenge to a certain level, but at the same time, he just wants a father. So it's there's lots of different things wrapped up in that story.
I've seen the images of the production images. Visually, it looks quite stunning. Obviously, it's in a theatre setting, so it's using a lot of lighting and stage effects. But ultimately, they seem to me to be, they're quite scary.
They do. I don't think you can do Frankenstein without attempting to be scary, because it's not there for scary sake. It's there to make you feel, to have empathy for the creature, and for the Professor Frankenstein as well, because he just wants to do what he was born to do, and that's to find out what makes things work. The emphasis on scares is almost secondary to the point of the whole story, I think.
So I think the audience will get a touch point to the original novel. So it might be a way of maybe leading people back to that, or giving them an insight into that, and also a contemporary theatrical experience. What do you think the message is for modern audiences in this story?
For modern audiences, I'd say there's a couple of different levels. One is how does a book that was written 200 years ago speak to us now? Does it still speak to us? Does it still make us feel anything? Is it just about the scare? But I think it comes back to that whole thing about confronting who we are and where we came from. It's costume-wise and time-wise, it's set in the time that the novel was written, so it's not a contemporary piece in that it's not set today. Which is what I'm really looking forward to. I've always wanted to see it set in the time that it was written in, and I think we'll get a lot out of that as well. But just seeing how the playwright has interpreted the work.
This was a very successful production in London. The original version of this ran for a long time on the West End. We've had very successful productions of things like Jekyll and Hyde, Sweeney Todd in musical versions. Of course, Frankenstein isn't a musical, but I think it probably tells us that going back to some of these sources is going to be a rich vein for for theatre to work on. And seeing Sydney's ensemble company developing this and on the national tour, I think it's fantastic. Yeah,
there's some footage that we've seen of them rehearsing the play, and I don't want to give too much away about how they do the creature, because there is makeup involved, which I'm really looking forward to. But the way they make the creature move when he is when he's born, let's say when he was born, extraordinary, just extraordinary movement that they do to make him come to life, to animate him, and he's winning. The idea is that he's going to win a lot of awards for his portrayal as the creature. Absolutely. It's really powerful, and there's parts of it that look really funny. So there's a few laughs to be had. So it's not all teeth clenching and so it's not all about that. There are some laughs to be had, which is what good theatre's about, and I think it taps into all those little veins that we want to see.
Now, the other insight into the man, Wayne, and this is you, is the little display that we've got in the foyer at the moment.
Yes.
People say, where did all that stuff come from? So Wayne's got a display in the foyer in one of our curiosity cabinets of all of this paraphernalia and things. And it's all yours.
It's all my stuff. Somebody said to me the other day, who does all this belong to? And I said, it's mine. And the answer was, I don't want to know anymore.
So people should come in and have a look at that.
Yeah.
So look, get along. We really would love to see you come and see this production of Frankenstein. It's the next big thing, a big theatrical work coming to the West Gippsland Arts Centre. And the dates, Wayne?
It's Tuesday the 18th of June at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. It's one night only.
It's one night only, but we'd like to see people come along a little bit earlier than usual and have a chat to us about their experiences with Frankenstein. We'd like to do some vox pops, do a bit of videoing, ask people what they are expecting, and perhaps reflecting afterwards. And we're also going to have Jenny here from Need to Read Bookstore, who's going to be bringing up some beautifully bound new volumes of Frankenstein for you to purchase if you like. And I've had a look at those, and I'll be buying one. They look fantastic.
That's great. And look, apart from the local bookshops, we've had great buy-in locally from our library, and that's been terrific.
That's right. So there's been a bit of engagement there between us and the library, which is forging a new relationship. They've done a competition. If you go into the library and you borrow a scary book, they will put you in the running to win tickets to see Frankenstein. But it's also a way for them to get people to read something that perhaps they wouldn't have already read, but know about culturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's David and Margaret for this week.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm David.
Thank you.